you like Indiana Jones? What, are you kidding me? He's a scholar, an adventurer, looks great in a tuxedo, but at the end of the day, the backstory between Indy and Marion makes me very uncomfortable. Clearly they've had a sexual relationship, and this was the cause of the falling out between Indy and Professor Ravenwood.
I haven't really spoken to him for 10 years. We were friends, but, had a bit of a falling out, I'm afraid.
Friend? What kind of man fucks his friend's daughter?
I learned to hate you in the last 10 years.
I never meant to hurt you.
I was a child.
What does she mean, she was only a child? How young was she? Figure Marion's in her early to mid-20s. Let's say she's 25. Indy says the falling out occurred 10 years ago. That would mean she was 15, maybe younger. Ew. And when Marion confronts Indy about his molestation, he uses the classic rape defense.
It was wrong and you knew it.
You knew what you were doing.
That's right, Indy. She was asking for it. Raiders was a collaboration between George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. Perhaps after the black and white world of Star Wars, where good always prevails over evil, Lucas wanted to create a darker world with a more morally ambiguous hero. But did he have to go and make the lead a rapist?
It was wrong and you knew it.
You knew what you were doing.
Thematically, Indy's rape of Marion makes sense when you look at his career of archaeologist as a metaphor for defiler. Look at him. He's always going into tombs and temples, busting shit up, robbing their treasures. Whoever put the idol there went to a lot of trouble to make sure it stayed safe. What gives Indy the right to come tramping in and stealing it? Talk about a feeling of entitlement. The movie has a lot of phallic imagery.
What is it?
There's the staff, the sub, the bazooka, and most famous, Indy's infamous fear of snakes. What is this supposed to mean? Are the snakes a metaphor for Indy's mistrust of his own penis, which is always getting him into trouble? I mean, look at the first time we see Indy reacting to a snake. Is it just supposed to be a coincidence it's bursting out of his crotch? This is an interesting scene at the beginning of the movie, where Indy is tantalized by a young student. He looks nervous. He must be tempted, but he's smart enough to know not to shit where he eats. Interesting to note that Indy never knew the monkey was secretly plotting against him. As far as Indy knows, Marion's pet died tragically while eating poisoned figs. Yet if this bothers him, we don't ever see it. Then again, Indy's a man who kills ruthlessly, sometimes cold-bloodedly. I doubt he even thought to tell Marion what happened. Although Raiders of the Lost Ark is the first Indy movie made, it's chronologically the second, taking place after the events in Temple of Doom. With that in mind, I always find myself wondering, what happened to Short Round? There was that whole weird Batman and Robin relationship between Indy and Short Round that seems to be over by the time Raiders begins. There's no sign of him at Indy's bachelor pad. Turns out for all their camaraderie, Short Round was as disposable to Indy as that poisoned monkey. I believe Short Round's fate is mirrored in the Chinese assistant who dies at the start of Temple.
Not this time, Indy. I followed you on many adventures. Into the great unknown mystery. I go first, Indy.
I'm guessing Indy used Short Round to help him on his latest theft of cultural artifacts, getting him killed on some foolhardy mission. As we see from Doc Ock, assisting Indy is short work. One last thing. In 2012, NECA planned to produce a set of dolls based on characters from the movie Django Unchained, done in the style of the old Mego superhero dolls. Certain groups complained, finding it in bad taste and racist to sell children toy slaves and slave masters. NECA canceled the toy line.
Indy, over here!
With that in mind, it is interesting to see back in 1981, it was A-OK for kids to play with Nazi action figures. You had the evil, elite torturer Toth, a Nazi mechanic, and most startling of all, Indiana Jones, the hero, dressed up in a Nazi uniform. Indiana Jones, rapist,
You knew what you were doing.
child exploiter, pervert. But he does look good in that tuxedo.